Now we're approaching one of the landmarks of the city, which is what I'm going to call the Southern Gate. Actually, this is call it, for what locals know it as, is the Golden Gate, famous Golden Gate. It used to be the Southern Gate of Kyiv. What we see now is a structure built in 1982 or something like that. So absolutely modern, but it was built on the uh, remains of the ancient gate, one of the gates of the wall, one of the three gates, probably the biggest one at the time. And I'm going to turn it around. This again is a reconstruction. If I can turn it around, you have to push the button. All right. So here's the gate, or the structure that was built on it. Again in 1982. The original gate dates back to the probably 11th century, 12th century, maybe earlier. I don't know. And the remains are inside, and how much there is probably not well known. But anyway, let's explore. Let's see if we find something of the actual original structure. But for starters, one of the ideas, or what's supposed to have happened, is that on top of the gate there was a church built in. I may be able to find a better angle. Okay, looks like, yeah, there's some old walls there. So that says exit. Okay, the Kyiv. So let's find the entrance. Okay, and again, all this is very fancy reproduction, and it was very controversial when it was done, because some people thought it wasn't really much based on the historical remains. But anyway, we're gonna go inside. Again, this is one of the really important historical sites in Kyiv. I'm gonna go around just to give it another look from outside. Maybe we can see the church structure on the top. Yeah, we can see a little bit across up there. And of course, all of this again is reproduction of what might have been. And again, what the reproduction itself is controversial. Here's the cashiers for the tickets. We'll start here. It says Casa. So this is probably mortar stones from the original gate. See some interesting structure there. Brick structure, not the red one, which is of course a new part, but the brick structure underneath, kind of interesting. It's kind of interspersed. Of course, there's probably several layers uh, that have been built on it. This is what the original must have looked like. Actually, this is a reflection of what was here before it was covered with the structure that you see. And I think there's some, you can probably find photos online of what the actual cave looked like. Here's some actually nice reproductions of different stages, of course, with the ruins. And, not much left of it, but you can still see the structure. So again, we see that Kyiv does have a lot of history for sure. The Kievan Rus. There's some things to consider, about the role of history and remains like this have in the idea of a new nation. Here we have the actual reproduction of what was built recently on top of it, with the church structure on top of the gate, which is interesting. It seems kind of realistic to me, but I don't know the details. So there are people who say that this was very controversial, the way it was built. And this is supposed to be the passage of the actual gate. Again, what you see there, that's reconstruction. But the walls, some of these walls could go all the way back to the 11th century or later than that, but this is part of the original gate for sure. Old stuff. Really, really good. Again, you see it on both sides. Pamiatka, Ukraina. Great stuff, great stuff. It's actually a good idea to have this structure built on top of it, because now you know that they're not going to deteriorate at the rate at which they were probably deteriorating before, because the protection was built. This is the famous great gate of Kyiv, the south gate, as we were saying earlier. Which dates back to the origin of the Kievan Rus and all those dates that are always talked about around the 11th century, when the Kievan Rus became an important entity. And the surprise here, not sure where this comes from, was there, were the people interred in here? I don't know. And nice teeth. And this is a reconstruction. The church, supposedly, which is on top of the tower. Excuse me. It's quite impressive if this was actually part of the gate, as it's thought to be. Pretty neat. Of course, this is all modern. And as I said before, this controversy about whether it actually represents what was up here faithfully. But still, this is the famous gate of Kyiv. Still, I cannot tell if the Mussorgsky piece was related to this. Let me see what this is. To read from here. There it is. Probably part of the original church or some of the stages after it was built. Let's see the site from the top. Wow, pretty cool. This is a roof. Interesting old building. It's a nice site. And the St. Sophia right there. The bell tower with the belfry, they call it, I think, in English. Again, the church at the top of the gate.